when you're flying in thermals and turbulent air, it's always good to fly a safe glider at 100% than a quite high performance one at 60%. Now, the harness plays a really crucial part to the stability and handling of a wing. 42 centimeters is that, from my elbow to my fingers. 42 is the harness setting all gliders are tested with. So, when you have a deflation, I'll just do one now, have a deflation, lean into it, recovers 90 degrees, okay? That's at 42 centimeters of separation. I'm going to loosen us right off and make the harness really wide, which means there's going to be big movement of weight when it deflates. Same deflation, same leaning in as before, and it goes to 180 degrees. There's no point flying a safe glider with a dangerous harness setting like that, because it changes the characteristics. Having a wide spacing is good if you want to feel the glider, but not good if you want more security. So it's your choice, but you've got to make a good calculated one.
Alternatively, close mailons can encourage your risers to twist more and can lock you into a spiral dive. In addition, it can desensitize your feeling of the wing, which can delay your response time to turbulence and deflations.
Okay, as the design of paragliders have evolved, we've got gliders that now fly at a really beautiful glide rate, very flat. But one vice they do have is that when you do a symmetric tuck, they hover a little bit before they dive. Now you've got to let the glider hover and then dive, because if you don't, if you break it whilst it's still hovering, you'll go into a stall. Okay, I'll do a symmetric collapse, so front risers, there, hover, gently dive, okay? So whilst it's still quiet, resist that temptation to break it. Always remember, if it's quiet, keep your hands up. When it's noisy, you can start squeezing on the brakes.
Here is a good example of the glider hovering back in a semi-deep stall. It is important to give it time, keep your hands up and trust the glider, and allow it to then spontaneously recover itself, breaking the dive if you need to. Too much brake at the wrong time will cause the glider to start to drop back into a stall. If you let go now, then the dive will be more violent, leading to a huge symmetric tuck, or worse, you falling into the wing. So you must break the dive if it's a big surge. Similarly, with an asymmetric tuck, it is important not to overreact. Too much input when the glider's not started to turn into the tuck can cause the glider to spin.
If your glider goes into really bad spin, the important thing is if you can see the ground, then you can release the brakes. I'll just do a full spin, okay, round I go, and when I see the ground there, I just release the brakes, it'll continue around in a spin, pull straight out. Now, that's all because I released the glider when it was in front of me. If I were to release the glider when it was behind, then it would be a different story. Big dive, big collapse, change of direction, twist. So the secret is just not to overreact. Don't fight the brakes, just provide resistance and keep it smooth. So I'm just going to go into a spin and I'll release it when it's in front of me. So barry it down, round I go, it's in front of me. So release the brakes. Whoop, just a bit of a dive on that one. Check the dive. That's a chummier one.
It's also good to know your glider's point of spin so that it keeps you safe in strong thermals and maximises your performance in cores. Watch Russell demonstrate.
Now, to find the point of spin when you're flying and you're thermaling, you can just push the brake hard like that, and then as soon as it starts to rotate, that's when you put your hand up again and you continue your circle. And if you know that point of spin, that's the point of spin in strong thermic conditions that you can avoid going too close to. But you do need to find that limit so that you can turn nice and tightly in the thermals.
Okay, another thing that's happened when the glider is rotating to one side, you very quickly have a twist. Twisting isn't good. You should always try to prevent the twist, because when it twists once, that's it. If the glider isn't recovering in the first 360 or so, then it'll just continue going round. To avoid twists, one, sit up so that your body's in between the risers and you're moving with the risers as the glider moves. And if you see a twist, then block it. Block it with your arms, get yourself back quick. And that holds you solid with the glider, moves you with the glider, and also stops any more twists coming in. So if you see a twist, oh, I've done a stall, I'm twisting, grab it, pull it apart, settle yourself down, and then get on the controls and fly away. Now, to kick out a twist is very easy. I'll just do a few twists, block that like that. My arms become my risers. Once I've stopped the twists, the glider's back to normal, then I'll start kicking it out. To kick it out, you just do big scissor kicks and untwist yourself. Once it goes round, you see how quickly it goes the minute it's allowed to be freed. In a moment, you're going to see some of the Ozone boys doing some amazing acro moves. But before you even consider doing acro, you have to be able to recover from it if it goes wrong.
For example, the stall is used a lot to recover from a spin or a sat that goes badly wrong. It's a manoeuvre you should be able to perform with complete confidence. So when I switch to a new glider, I'll stall it to build up my confidence in the wing and also my ability to recover it. The full stall can be disconcerting because there is a period of perceived weightlessness during which the pilot falls backwards. Watch out your arm's upper body goes from vertical to past the horizontal as the wing goes into full stall. It's important to keep your head straight, your piloting active. The wing will thrash around, so keep your arms engaged and don't let the forces snatch the controls away from you. Done correctly, you can lose as little as 40 meters from start to finish and have a descent rate of only 6 meters per second. The wing may also turn, as it does here in the example. But don't worry about this. It should not affect your smooth release and control of the dive.
Now, to stall, it's very easy. All you do is make sure you're sitting upright as much as you can, and you're nice and tight in your harness, and you bury the brakes and stall it. When it becomes above your head, you then ease the brakes off, check that dive as it comes, and fly away. So I just demonstrate, bury the brakes, back I go. Comes above me, just gently ease off and fly as normal, and it recovers. Now, if it gets a little cravat in, or a little tip cravat like that, all you do is go to the stabilizer line, give it a little tug, okay? So it's nice to check you know where the stabilizer line is, because it's not always on the front. It's often on the B riser going to the tip. Sometimes a different colour, but it's good to check, okay? One tug on the stabilizer line gets a cravat out.
Have a look at this sat that went wrong. Too much brake induced a spin. The pilot stalls his way out, but you can see the right wingtip has a small cravat, which could lead to a spiral. So all he does is tug on the stabilizer line and it pops out.
So unless you're prepared to be able to stall a wing, don't start thinking about doing acro.
Here, Russell demonstrates a great stall recovery from a helicopter that went wrong.
Keep our legs tucked in, keep it going round. As soon as it goes off there, I stop by stalling, hold the glider in a stall, let it stabilise and fly away. Don't be indecisive, okay? When you decided to stall it, you're going to stall it. But once you've locked your arms on and you fall back, the glider reappears, then begin the easing up of the process and check that dive as it comes. So you just bury the brakes like that, it goes back, comes above my head, and I start easing the brakes up, let it dive a touch, and fly. Right, well, we're going to sign off from here. You've learned your thermaling, you've learned a bit more about SIV. Now we're going to hand you to the boys in Annecy. We're going to show you some excellent manoeuvres and how to acro properly.